Unstoppable force meets immovable object.
Scary thoughts.
Let's get into our second map between these two teams with Soniqs surprising some people, especially the community, with what you just saw was a 67-33% split. Surprising people, taking Tempo Storm's map away from them. Now we go to Clubhouse, which is going to be much more familiar territory for the Soniqs, and of course for Tempo Storm as well. There used to be a day where the lower level teams that didn't have this level of experience over and over and over again would struggle with a large map pool. Not really the case anymore. Most of these teams are scrimming all 7 maps.
Yeah.
But are they scrimming them with double Hard Breacher ban on Clubhouse?
That's a lot of reliance on that Thermite. Okay, though, being taken off, though, that will help a little bit because, of course, without the Maverick, it can be very difficult to deal with those hatches if Kaid's in play. So makes sense to lose him as well, but this is definitely going to be a very hard breach-centric play. The fact that the Maestro's still available as well, though, definitely going to help try and deny things a little bit. But the Echo being gone means at least a plant should be easier if you can get towards site. Still, this is going to be, I think, tricky on the basement attacks, especially with the hard breacher bans, but also Cash. Really going to have to rely on timing things perfectly, doing things like Zofia tricking the bandit and things like that to be able to open up the wall. Definitely going to be a big deal, but starting on Jim, a very interesting pick here, something we don't see very often. I don't imagine that Soniqs are going to prepare for that unless, of course, that is something they had done in the past. But Tempo Storm hadn't necessarily shown a ton of Clubhouse during their 4 attempts at getting here. One of the times they played Clubhouse was one of their losses. Another one was the one that helped them get here. So they've definitely shown they've adjusted their Clubhouse over time and gotten better at it, but Soniqs are only going to have so much footage to work with.
It's good to see Tempo Storm in good spirits, even after their first map loss. Obviously, they've been looking like they've been having a lot more fun than what we've seen out of the Soniqs. The Soniqs have been very, very composed. Very minimal energy, very minimal enthusiasm, outside of maybe a couple words said in defiance of plays by Tempo Storm from Gomfi.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I think that motivation and energy and enthusiasm and all that plays into this, and in this particular instance, I think the fact that Tempo Storm haven't lost their cool yet is a very good sign heading in here.
Well, we'll definitely see. This is a good map overall for Soniqs, as you mentioned earlier. It's going to be a tough uphill battle here, but at least they showed it can be very close between these two teams in that last map, and that Tempo Storm has what it takes to at least make it very, very close. I mean, it came down to the last 10 seconds of that last map to be played, to decide who actually went forward. So I still think Tempo Storm have a lot to show here, but Soniqs are going to have a lot more experience on this map in general at a Pro League level as well, and that's definitely going to be something Tempo Storm can use against them. But Slebin and Gomfi are later additions to the team, and so may not be prepared for how they're going to play it. And Slebin playing very quickly to try and take some map control here from below. Gomfi as well, just trying to help things. I mentioned with some breach charges there.
Bomb located by attacker.
See Amira in play as well, which should make things a little bit more interesting on the site.
Slebin has made his way all the way to the top of main stairs. Nobody has seen him, and he's just sprung right in. Down goes Mira. Amazing kill for him. Swings around, can't get the second as Creators will refrag with a minute off of the board, but you've taken the Mira out of action. That's a very smart play from Slebin, and it's going to strike fear into the hearts of Tempo Storm, who clearly realized that they had a blind spot and it just got exploited.
Yeah, and Super's looking to exploit it again, droning those stairs as well. Neptune's, though, trying to cover the crosshair, make sure that no one else can play on those stairs. Also trying to take out the bathroom player, and absolutely does so. Filthy taken out now. It is down to a 4v3, very much in the advantage of Soniqs, especially since they've taken down some key players, and all 3 nitros have been burned. One was on Mira, who's dead. The other one's on the Valkyrie, who threw it out earlier at the hole on Hot Tub. And then that last one there from the Bandit. Now no more C4s in play that might have helped stop a plant. They don't have a smoke or anything. Maybe a Maestro Evil Eye to slow things down, but really, Soniqs have opened things up here for plant. It's going to come down to maybe Butters or Creators just playing the right angle at the right time to slow that down. But looking pretty good for the Soniqs with 1 minute and 9 seconds left to make this happen.
The Soniqs need a strong start to be able to capitalize off of their, I think some people would say, surprising victory. It'll continue on now as Neptune's adds to the body count. Down goes Butters. Creator's isolated. He'll swing his way out. Takes out Super. He's got an angle to play against Gomfi. This will be a very tough shot, especially with how low Creators is. This will be a 1 in a million shot if he can land it. Plant goes down successfully. The Maestro trapped inside a construction. No way out, barring a jump through the window, and Neptune's will just watch He lines up, takes out Creators. A little bit of a surprise there for old Scotty, as you want to call him. And the Soniqs will clean up the rest of the round. Diffuser down, objective played, and they find every single kill.
Very clean around there, especially with the Ash entry just really doing exactly what an Ash entry should do.
Yep.
I mean, the creepy crouch walk, the 3-speed, the sneaking up. I mean, I'm honestly surprised he got traded without getting a second one first, but Creators was definitely on top of that, just not soon enough to save his teammate. But overall, a very, very smooth round for the Soniqs. Does not bode well for Tempo Storm to try and play something like Jim like that and just get dismantled, thinking they were the ones having a surprise in store for Soniqs. They will go down to Church Arsenal, though, a little bit more of a standard play, and this is definitely what they should be doing at this point, because their little surprise trick just ended up backfiring on them. They are going to 6th pick, though, to a castle to sneak that in,
Attackers need to
which
locate
I don't think will make a huge amount of difference when you've got a Zofia and an Ash and a Sledge. I don't think those castle barricades are really going to hold up very long. We'll see them, of course, be able to potentially hold the hatches, you know, a little bit longer in the sense that there's only one hard breacher, so they have to choose, do I take 2 hatches? Do I take 1 hatch and a wall? It really becomes a little bit harder. You really have to set up one particular attack, and that's the advantage Tempo Storm has, is if they can deny that single lane, they have a huge advantage, but they've got to do it.
Keep in mind the very first hard breach ban was Hibana from Tempo Storm. I don't think they were expecting to lose Mav as well, and that was the Soniqs who ultimately controlled and dictated exactly what was going to happen with the bans. So the Soniqs are, by banning Maverick second, probably very well equipped to deal with a single thermite on Clubhouse. We saw the same thing in European Pro League one time, very distinctly, which was when it was Lestream versus Empire, and it was Empire's only loss in the regular season. And what happened? Well, there's a rush, actually.
Wow, 3 minutes.
So hold on a second. I'm just going to wait for a moment here. And Soniqs, within 30 seconds, are almost in sight. This is something that's very telltale and very vintage Soniqs, so to speak. They take down 1, but they lose another. Down goes Gomfy. Advantage back in the favor of Tempo Storm.
Neptune's now trapped with the diffuser as well. Super's going to have to try and bail his buddy out here. Hatch is open to do that, but no. Caught off guard. Filthy was trying to guard it from above. Great play by Super to even things out, and then back and forth. Crazy gets the one on Neptune.
Reloading.
These are beautiful shots here from Crazy. He cannot be shaken off of that position. Super just found a kill above. Will now need to get the diffuser, and we're only a minute into this round. Don't kid yourself. This was a very quick bout of action. So he's got a lot of work to do. Keep in mind that this entire setup on the main floor was designed to bleed utility and time off of the clock for the Soniqs, but they just negated that by just going around it because there was nobody watching blue. That was it. I don't even think there was a single goo mine, at least from what we saw. Follow along with the Toby eye tracker just to give you a look at exactly what Super is looking at. He's very focused on exactly the end of the ACOG. Not worried about anybody from any other angle. He knows he's got the Legion through a box. He'll snap onto Butters. He was looking up to see exactly whose name it was. He'll creep on up. The Legion darts around, but he's going to get shot now from over on Church. Super with one. He's got the pistol out, but he can't do much. He's not fast enough for the Legion, and that gets very, very bad for Tempo Storm, but they manage to save the day at the final moment.
What a stressful match or round for Tempo, because they had all the advantage in the world. You know exactly where Super's got to go. Either drops hatch or comes down the stairs. He's got to get the diffuser. He even telegraphed it with 2 EMPs. He's like, hey guys, I'm coming. And they still lost 2 people in that fight. They should not have lost anyone, let alone 2 people. They could have been watching all the angles because he's got to go to the diffuser spot to pick it up. Like, how much more predictable, how much more of a trap can you set and still almost lose it? That definitely bodes well for Super, though, to be able to try and pull it back like that. Like you said, the Toby eye tracker showing his absolute focus on the tip of that ACOG, and that is exactly what he needed to be doing. It almost worked there, but that does at least bring it back a little bit for Tempo Storm. They're able to finally win around here, and now they're going to go to another bomb site up in Cache. Now, this is another tricky one for Thermite. Without a Maverick to Maverick trick the wall, as we often see happen there, to open it up and soften it. But you still have the Zofia to be able to help try and stop Bandit. And it's actually going to be Dream on Bandit this time instead of Creators. He's going to be taking that role to try and deny the wall potentially. I mean, he could back off if he feels like he's going to be pressured and just stunned. But you do want to at least force them to use some of that utility if you can.
I was making some notes in my notebook when we went into the lineup and the operator lineup and all that jazz. And as you said, we're going to go to cache. The first thing I thought was, oh, single thermite? Well, you got to take garage and you got to have a Capitao with you. Those are non-negotiables, and you look up and, there it is. And I mean, Capitao is an operator that we said on map number 1, Tempo Storm likes to ban Capitao.
Yeah.
Don't really have room to do that if they're going to be using their bans on Hibana or Buck in the previous map.
Yeah, they had specific bans they wanted to do, and that leaves Capitao available. And I'm glad to see Soniqs taking advantage of it, because this is a very strong operator, especially as you said on this map for Garage. Being able to take those rafters using the Firebolt is very important. We do see a sneaky Ash, though, trying to go through Dirt Tunnel to try and sneak on up, if he can. Also, potentially, it doesn't look like they're actually going for the standard stun bandit from the drone hole. They're actually going for the old below attack. This was more of an earlier strat on New Clubhouse. They're actually kind of going back a little bit to that. They're going to try and open up the hole from below, try and stun this a little bit. And Dream isn't even playing inside there. He's playing inside Garage at the moment, so he's not going to risk his life. And they're just going to get that open with 2 minutes to spare. Good start for Soniqs.
It's been interesting watching Clubhouse because Goddess's team, when she was on Cloud9, back when they had a North American squad, they now, of course, have the APAC team based out of Korea. But back when Clubhouse first started, there was some weird, do you attack Garage? Do you go through construction? Do you take the outside wall? What was it? And one thing that I remember very distinctly from Cloud9 was that they were very focused on always taking construction. And that was not new, but it was something that was distinctly Cloud9 for a period of time here. And it's funny because Clubhouse is always one of those maps where Kickstar likes to say it's very cyclical. You know, you get the dirt pushes, and then you get the church pushes, then you get the hatch pushes, and it just kind of cycles until people forget. There goes an asphyxiating bolt, and Dream, goodbye. You are done for, and that's an absolute nightmare for him. Trapped inside of the corner, and while the asphyxiating bolt, as it grows and grows and grows, you only need one person to watch it. There goes another firebolt up top, trying to shake out the player in the corner, and that's very easy control of the Garage. Filthy's the only one from Tempo to do anything. Gomphy shuts down Filthy in that case, though, but Tempo Storm now trailing. Once again, a 4v2 for the Soniqs. A minute to go. Butters is not going to be able to win that fight at such long range, especially against Gomphy. Not with the way Gomphy's been playing today. So Butters is, at least for the time being, going to be held back. Distracted by a drone that leaves Crazy on site in essentially a 1v3. And Gomphy getting a little brazen. They've got the drone up there. He's going to peek on up. It's a joint effort from Super, and now all on the shoulders of Crazy. He'll approach the breach hole. He's got one on Catwalk, two on Catwalk. You know, 1v2, and he's sitting on Diffuser as well. I'm not sure if he's aware of this. He knows somebody approaches from red, and he's got the breach hole as well to take care of. EMP goes off in front of him. He'll have to avoid the glare from the sun. A mark goes out, he knows it, but he can't land the shots, and Gomphy, who was just hitting everything that was lining up in front of him, will save the round for the Soniqs.
That was nearly a flawless round from the Soniqs, too, up until the point where Crazy just lived up to his name, just jumping out the window and laying down two that absolutely should have been prepared for it. There's very few options for them to come out at that point. Yeah. They just did not expect such a bold play. But really, Tempo Storm just did not have an answer for the checklist that Soniqs were going through. I mean, I know there's already very little you can do against the Capitao. As you mentioned, that's why it's such an important play for that role. But just no answer for the wall getting opened, no answer for the catwalk being taken. Like, Crazy's play was the only thing that was really able to counter anything that was coming out from Soniqs there. Them try and cash again here, they really need a different idea of how they're going to defend this, because there was just not much they could do against the way that Soniqs were playing it, and I don't imagine Soniqs really need to change that much about what they did, just continue to execute on it.
I mean, the Soniqs were incredibly good at getting that garage wall open. They were incredibly good at being able to pressure from blue. There was no chance that we saw whatsoever from the two players on Tempo Storm inside a garage. There was no way. There was no way out for them. Wamai is not available and won't be available for at least 3 months. I don't even think we're going to see him for the 6 Invitational, actually. I think we'll see him and Kali afterwards. So
might be right after.
I think it's going to be Amaru and Goyo that we'll see for the 6 Invitational. So that's going to be new content that's locked behind the competitive integrity wall, whatever they want to call it, the quarantine, competitive quarantine. So there's no counter to that Capitao inside of the garage.
Yeah.
Tempo Storm basically had two people dying in vain for no particular reason because they couldn't deal with Neptunes. And as we now move into round number 4, well, you're going to see something a little bit different about the same site. The defense from Tempo Storm is going to be on mostly the other side of the map now. So instead of focusing really heavily on Garage, they still got creators in there with the ADS. Tempo Storm are going to try to waste time and also amass some intel over on the Gym Master side.
Also, you do have Dream actually playing the wall this time. He wants to hold it. He's got batteries there. He's going to try and stay alive as long as he can with Crazy and Creators to try and help back him up. But they know what's going on there. They've droned. They have the Thatchers to be able to take out the batteries. They're going to take them out. Dream's not going to... Oh, no, he tries to counter the wall, but immediately hit by a Zofia charge as well. They're going to get that wall. There you go. You heard that. He's low on health now. Tried to fight it, but all he did was buy maybe an extra 5 seconds from what we saw last round.
I think it does 50 to 60 damage per shot, given that he's a 3-speed 1 armor on the Bandit, if I remember correctly. And people forget that things like impacts and ash charges and all that, they can do quite a bit of damage, especially impacts if they hit you bang on. So once again, Garage is going to be sliced open and dissected by the Sonics so effectively. You've got one member of the Sonics down in the basement, roam clearing, just to try and ensure that they have full control. It's going to be Sleben, and he knows that there's somebody playing down here. Getting crept up upon. He's going to have to fall off immediately, but Filthy swings on him and shuts down Sleben. That really shouldn't have been a loss for the Ash at all. The Sonics find themselves down by 1. Filthy gets flushed out of his position, as Creators does as well. Creators' head gets removed immediately by Neptunes, who will continue to walk up the catwalk. Embracing the flames, a minute to go. Sonics with an advantage and Dream low on HP as well does not bode well for Tempo Storm's chances. It's a very common spot to be playing at the top of red, and Neptunes knows it. Is he going to be able to hit his shot? No. But Dream dances around the bullets. His position given away. He's finished off 2, and it's Butters in a 1v4. This map has not gone the way that Tempo Storm had hoped, even though it wasn't their choice. And Butters will find himself at the bottom of the garage door. Too many angles to cover. He's going to get shot down in the back by Super. 3-1 for the Sonics.
So far, that Tempo Storm have only really shown one site that they really actually had much to do on it, which was down in the church, which, of course, having succeeded on it, they couldn't play it 2 rounds in a row. Now they can go back there. Of course, they're going to. But only having one good bomb site that they can work with here on this map because of the operator bans, that is not going to bode well at all for them on this map, as this map can definitely swing defender sided depending on the bans, and it's not looking that way so far for them because they've just not been able to counter, especially on Cash. There's 2 things they just cannot do anything about: that wall and the catwalk. Because they can't defend either of those and they lose people or at least take damage on both of those, I mean, they're absolutely going to have to exploit the same thing against Sonics.
Keep in mind that what aided the Tempo Storm so much on that downstairs victory was that 3 members of the Sonics were in the site within 30 seconds.
That's very true. They also rushed right in.
They rushed right into it, and they rushed basically into the waiting arms of Tempo Storm, who gunned them all down.
Probably won't happen this round.
Probably won't happen this round. I agree with you on that one. So where do you go from here? Well, if the Sonics are a bit more methodical, as they have been on both of their cash takes, I worry about the way that the Storm are going to be able to hold this one off. Now, do bear in mind that the defensive bans are Kaid and Echo.
Yeah.
But the attacker bans are Maverick and Hibana. That at face value should suggest that the defenders are going to do well because there's only one hard breacher that you have to rely upon. And a lot of people would argue that Thermite is the easiest to counter in a lot of these situations. But because of the way that the Sonics set up these bans, they were very clearly ready to deal with Maverick and Hibana being off the board, and they have played so well around it.
Well, they already used one hard breach upstairs on the cash wall. Interestingly, that really limits their options for downstairs pushes, but they used it to take care of Filthy.
Oh my.
Still worth it. If they can trade a Thermite breach charge for a kill, that is very important, especially a kill on a Mozzie. That's a C4 off the board as well.
And the way that Tempo Storm are laying out their defense, you saw that there were a couple people roaming, which is not out of the ordinary on Clubhouse, but still quite rare. We don't often see teams take 1 or 2 of their defenders and put them off-site.
Because you saw why.
And I mean, you just saw why. Exactly there. Where are you going to go? And here's another lined up and waiting.
Oh, no.
It's going to be Butters on deck. Sleben will drone on in. Butters is right there. He takes out Gomfy, trying to refrag. Oh my goodness, Butters pulls 2 rabbits out of a hat in one go, and Tempo Storm now with the advantage over what should have been a very easy 2 kills for the entry of the Sonics.
So now not only have they used 1 breach charge, they also have lost 2 players. 2 important that's actually Castle Barricades now in a great position because guess what? They lost both their soft breachers and they have no sledge now. So the Castle Barricades, if they're in the right spots, might actually be a little bit of a game changer in terms of delaying a lot of time. So, I mean, not a bad position for Tempo Storm to be in. Yes, they did lose Filthy, and they took a lot of damage on Butters, who's still somewhat upstairs. He just drops down through the gym hatch now and can rotate. Super's going to try and trap him here in the bar area or the bathroom. But the wooden barricade actually slows him down. See Super's vision again here. Supervision. He's going to be looking for anything he can find gadget-wise.
I feel like sometimes he needs supervision.
Yeah, absolutely. This is it right here. He's looking for it. He's so... I mean, Butters is just holding his attention. He cannot trust going down the stairs now. They finally find him, but no one's doing anything about it. Castle Barricade working in their favor again.
Waiting to see if they can take care of Butters, but they are just bleeding through time right now.
This is such a tempo storm round now.
This is, yeah, and I mean, I don't see how the Sonics are going to be able to translate this unless they just decide to ignore Butters and push a 3v3 on site, but even then they've only got one exothermic charge. That's it. They're trying to figure out where the Valkyrie cams are, as playing in the typical pulse spot, a couple bullets will go out. Say goodbye to the Valkyrie camera. Neptunes, with a couple smokes, will try and make it so that nobody from the defense are able to get on in. Neptunes gets in, gets gunned down from Creators. What can Goddess accomplish? Well, it doesn't look like that much, at least for the time being. She's in a 1v2 downstairs as Super finally finds Butters, but Super won't get too far. A nice crossfire established at the bottom of the main stairs. Tempo Storm will answer back.
Great round for them. Unfortunately, this is still the only bomb site they're winning. Obviously, that wasn't a round where we saw, 3 Russian blue. But surprisingly, it's still definitely when the fair. I mean, Butters, absolutely. And that was entirely his round. The only reason Tempo Storm dominated that round was because of Butters. Not just getting the 2 kills, but he didn't even get traded. He got downstairs and hung out playing pool for as long as possible with just nothing that could be done from Soniqs. Not to mention the fact that he took out the 2 operators that could open up the castle barricade, bought him even more time. I mean, I don't know if we'll see a repeat of that, but I mean, we didn't see a repeat of what won them the first time as well, so.
It was such a misplay by both Gomfy and Sleben. You could see that they were working in tandem with one another, tag teaming the top floor, sending in the drone to try and figure out the exact location of the mute, and they knew where he was, but just you played around it, and Butters played it very well. But more than Butters playing it well, it was a pretty big misstep that we saw from the Sonics. So I had said that if they were as methodical on a church take as they were on cache CCTV, and it would probably do, and it did look pretty methodical, I will give you that, but I mean, there's a method to the madness, sure, but sometimes the madness is better. That's it. That's just the way it works out. And that
Butters was the madness that round.
Exactly. Butters was, I think, indisputably better with the way that he played it, so. Could have been a 4-1 victory, or rather lead, for the Sonics, which would be pretty good to catapult them towards victory. That'd be tough to come by, especially given the way that these work. The attackers don't usually win an awful lot on Clubhouse. That's just it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the tweet.
Well, I mean, right now it's only a 1-point advantage for the Sonics. So Tempo Storm aren't that far behind. Yes, obviously not everything worked out for them. They lost on all the other bomb sites, but at the same time, being only 1 point behind isn't too bad here. They can definitely still bring this back. But they do have the advantage on defense given the operator ban, so they really should be in a better position right now. But maybe they can bring it back. Gym is what they started on. Obviously it didn't work out, but they can make some adjustments now that they've got a couple rounds under their belt, feeling a little more confident. We are going to see, of course, Sonics just doing what they can to try and open this up. You don't really necessarily need Haban or Maverick for this, because you can usually open up cache wall somewhat uncontested, and then the hot tub wall is not as difficult to open as cache. So probably both those exothermic charges are going to be used on those 2 walls, depending on how they want to play it. But right now, I think they're just trying to get an idea on the positioning first. See if they can figure out where Filthy's playing. Now, they aren't playing with the mirror this round, so it's a little bit different. They just reinforced the entire bathroom wall, but
they picked the mirror, though.
Yeah.
And then 6 picked off of her.
Yeah, just to make them think they're going for the same play.
And that's a smart thing to do. We've seen fake outs with certain operators before, like Valkyrie, Pulse, Castle, etc. Gomfy gets down and finished off Filthy, very aggressive on the opening created by Jacuzzi Wall. Sleben will do the exact same thing he did last time. Guided in by a drone on central stairs, but there's going to be one watching. The Valkyrie staring quite intently to see if Sleben's going to bother to go up much farther. But no, the Valkyrie's now inside of the bathroom, so you don't have to worry too much. Filthy, a safe haven with the double reinforced walls. He's not really at risk of any possible aggression. Sleben will continue to creep on up as 2 drones look to be guiding him in at this point. One to his right and one to his left. Bandit tosses the C4 out. Sleben just waits very patiently. He doesn't need to provoke a fight whatsoever. I don't think the Sonics know what to do, and I think they're waiting for somebody to overextend so Sleben can get a pick and then roll from there, because for the time being, they don't really have much going for them. But reposition the Capitao over towards the bathroom, though. You still got your 2 firebolts.
There we go. Finally, Sleben gets one. Neptune's helping to try and cut things off as well. This is starting to roll slowly in the favor of Soniqs. Sleben's patience, I think, going to pay off. If he can get a second pick onto potentially Butters or Filthy, that'll definitely work. He did have one down, but the trade's back and forth. Dream and Butters getting one each. And there we go. It just collapses.
4 kills in the span of a second, and Tempo Storm will manage to equalize. That's impressive as all get out. And well, it certainly looked like the Soniqs were the better team through the first couple rounds, but that pendulum has swung back in the other direction. And the real question mark here, double hard breach ban, and Tempo Storm now goes on to attack.
Yeah, this is definitely where they need to have a good plan themselves. Like you said, they might have been caught off guard by the Maverick ban, and that's a tough thing to adapt to on the fly. If a lot of your strats depend on getting certain walls open and you don't have a good way to do that with just Thermite, it could be tough. Interesting that they're going to be the ones to bring the Buck, having banned it last map. They're going to bring it here, see if Dream can use that adequately, as we didn't see that really from the Soniqs. So we'll see. Soniqs, though, also not starting on Jim like we saw from Tempo Storm. They're going to be a little bit smarter about it for their first sight. We will see them have the Legion to slow things down, and the Maestro as well. And then we'll have the additional intel of the Valkyrie cameras. We heard a lot on the analyst desk about the intel struggles coming out on defense from Tempo Storm. I think we saw a little bit of that this map as well, and I'm glad to see Soniqs aren't making that mistake. They really like to have that extra intel. 2 camera operators, a mute to deny some of the droning, and then the Legion goo mines to be able to provide some extra intel. They are going to have some idea where the attack's coming from, but they have some good setup for vertical play here with the Buck. Capitao as well being brought for Church, not as necessary, but we did see that from the Soniqs. I don't think we're going to see a 3-rush blue here from Tempo Storm, but you never know. Could get crazy. We'll be getting a lot of setup on the mid floor as well, some cameras, things like that. Tempo Storm has historically been very strong attacking in the clubhouse. Well, we'll see if that's the case here. 60% round win rate on less favorable side, but that was against different opponents.
I saw the word favor without a U in it, and my eye kind of twitched, and then I realized where I was.
There you go. Did they do the U in Canada?
They do the U in Canada.
That's unfortunate. Well, we will have the favor of the no U here, and see if this is the favorite side.
It was just a side note, that was it. But we'll see how much that stat is going to hold, because like we said, and I've said twice now, maybe Tempo Storm know how to deal with this. Maybe they were even expecting it. Maybe they'd scrim the Soniqs at some point and they knew this was coming. We don't really know. So it'll take a round or 2 to see how this plays out. Now, on no single site, I would guess, is it going to be more pronounced than Church, because as you said, you've only got 2 exothermic charges, that's it. That's 1 hatch and maybe the Church wall. That means you don't get dirt open, that means you don't get the kitchen hatch open, or you don't get the bar hatch open, or you don't get the stock hatch open. I mean, it doesn't really hurt when the stock hatch is left soft.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't bring a sledge to just open easy, but they have a Buck to do about the same thing.
I would not be surprised if Butters had breaches either. There you go. So you got to expect that one person on that team is going to have that as the secondary gadget here. So, but the Soniqs are expecting a blue take with the way that they're lined up right now. Not just with the barbed wire, but also the intel. You mentioned that there's a wealth of information on the side of the Soniqs from the Valkyrie and from the Legion. And then, of course, don't discount the Maestro. It's just about waiting. There goes some smoke, and there goes some fire, rather, as Gomphy gets pushed out of his position, and both the fire arrows are gone. Filthy still has the ability to shroud anything in smoke twice. There's only a set of smokes on the team, mind you. Sleben is there on the flank, takes out Dream and Creators, both of whom are watching from above. Not ideal circumstances for Tempo Storm.
Definitely pushing a bit into the trap here now, giving away their position on blue. That's their one attacker that's actually pushing downstairs right now. Yes, they might have some top floor control, but it gets taken down. Sleben taking out Butters. A lot of pressure on Crazy here. Filthy could maybe support him a little bit, but this is not a good position to be in. A Diffuser not even in pocket right now.
No. Taking out the head of Goddess, though, as she peeks a little bit too prematurely from the back of Armory. Sleben's there for his 4th. There he goes. He's only got 1 left. It's going to be coming from blue. Can you get them all? No! Ace denied by Crazy. You have to shrug your shoulders at that one, but it doesn't matter if he gets the ace or not. He took away about 60 HP off of Crazy. He'll have to suicide drop right on in. No utility, nothing. And no health left either. Golf claps in the audience as the Soniqs regain the lead.
definitely looking good there. That was a very solid defense coming out from Soniqs, but this is going to be rough just because, you know, it is hard defense of the top floors. We saw how thoroughly Soniqs were able to dismantle the cache defense from Tempo Storm as well as some of the gym defense. So will Tempo Storm have learned from that? Will they be playing the same way? They, of course, bring the Capitao as well. They're not going to 6th pick onto it. They're just going to go, you know we're bringing the Capitao. You brought it. We're bringing it. No use hiding it. They are going to bring the Buck, though, a little bit different. They have 2 ways now to hit from below to be able to deny Bandit his job, which is going to be Slebin playing on that. So maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. That is also a trap you play into. If you need to take Lounge from below to make that attack happen, you also expose yourself to players in Lounge. So they may have someone covering for that. Looks like we have a timeout at the moment as well. Looks like a technical timeout at the moment, so no one has called for their timeout yet on this map.
It still gives teams the opportunity to discuss amongst themselves, removed from the fray of action. So this is good for both teams. I don't think this is the sort of thing that will break up the momentum. It's just simply somebody getting things adjusted. But I mean, the Soniqs do have something to talk about. They certainly look like the well-oiled machine through the first half of this map. The second half, well, we've only played 1 round, so we can't really extrapolate much from that, mind you. But certainly the Soniqs looking more comfortable with the way that the bans worked. Slebin dominated that last round, but largely did so on the roll. It wasn't even necessarily Slebin. It was the flank roll that there was nobody on Tempo Storm doing flank watch. You can replace Slebin with just about anybody else.
That's Slebin also taking advantage of, again, like he was on Ash, taking advantage of holes that Tempo Storm are leaving, just oversights they're making, and that's costing them.
So, because there's a technical break, we got to see the Tempo Storm video on the desk. Why don't we give you a look at the Soniqs video now, too?
I'm Super, this is Goddess, this is Gomfy, that's Slebin, and that's Neptunes. We're the Soniqs. We qualified for USN back in, I believe, January. Since then, we've had 2 roster changes with Gomfy and Slebin, replacing Ghost and Avian. So they're kind of hitching a ride. And we've also been demoted from Pro League, so that's depressing. But hopefully we do good here. Just winning any title in general is obviously an important thing, but being crowned Team USA, especially for me because my previous team, Rogue, won Team USA last year right after I left the team. So if we were able to win, that'd be pretty special to me. And considering we have 2 European immigrants on our team, I think it'd be pretty ironic as well, so I'm all for that. Well, we've only been in Vegas for 1 day. Yesterday we went and got pizza, so I enjoyed that. I don't really think you can have too bad of a time in Vegas as long as you control yourself. To me, the most important aspect of the game to be successful is easily communication. Our special tactic is that we have no idea what we're doing.
It's probably one of the strangest videos I've ever watched.
Yeah, no, it was a good setup for the rest of these rounds.
Like involving, gamers. So we got pizza. It was good.
Super is always interesting.
I will say this though, when he said, we got relegated, so that's depressing. But it was like I remember his tweet after both Rogue and the Soniqs got relegated. I think it was like the OGA pick quals or something like that. And he's like, we play Rogue today for OGA pick quals in what will prove to be the most depressing lobby in esports history.
It was so true.
It was, I have not enjoyed a tweet as much as that one in a very long period of time. So,
well, luckily for whichever team doesn't make it out of this, alcohol is very affordable in this town.
Yeah, it's everywhere. As long as you control yourself. He said that himself.
As long as
I feel like anybody can have a good time in Vegas, so long as you control yourself.
Well, let's see if Super can control himself this game.
He's been controlling his team very adequately, and he's been controlling his recoil very well too. Because I think he was top fragging at one point. I don't know if he still holds that, but
we've also seen he's controlling his eyeballs very well. That Toby Eye Tracker.
Yes, that is very correct as well.
So that's good.
Big ups to Toby.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's get underway with round number 8 as the technical issue seems to be past us. And we've only had one opportunity to see the Soniqs on defense. It was a church defense, and they were victorious. A large part of that hinged on the play of Slebin. What's going to happen now? Well, the Soniqs are going to run with something a little bit differently. They're going to bring out the castle, and it's going to be a defense of cache and CCTV. Now, castle usually means that you're going to defend lounge down below. This was something that we've seen teams like Space Station do quite a bit. We'll be seeing play actually in the next match of the day, if I remember correctly. So,
Drone activated.
what exactly is going to happen? We're just following along Dream and only Dream here as he
Follows a dream.
Yeah. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
No, definitely don't let them be nightmares either. Let's keep them dreams. He's definitely looking for any opportunity upstairs, though. It doesn't really look like Soniqs wants to give him that, but that means giving up map control of that side of the map, though. And you definitely want to take that. If you can hold it and you can push towards construction, the connector there, that will give you the opportunity to use those thermite breach charges on that wall if you'd like.
So here's a change already. You've got the Capitao, and you know that you can use that very easily to gain control of Garage, which is where Neptunes is playing. But one of those fire bolts goes off over towards the wall on CCTV cache, CCTV wall in particular, which has now been opened up. Neptunes is not being challenged whatsoever inside a Garage. So if Tempo's play, as they have creators now inside of what appears to be construction, if their play is to basically have a pincer movement where you have two of the team go through construction, you go through the opening, and then you maybe keep somebody on the window outside of B, well, that's going to be really difficult for Neptunes to be able to do much, as he'll be essentially isolated in Garage. Goddess is the very first casualty, so Tempo Storm gets the opening frag in round number 8 here.
Slevin with the trade back, though.
Takes out Filthy a little while later. Construction has been completely opened up, and Slevin has been heating up. He had 4 kills in the previous round. Now he'll find a 5th. Down goes Butters, and there's a 6th now, too, as Slevin cannot be contained at all. Waiting to see if somebody's going to peek from the B-bomb window. Just 30 seconds left to go. Super under fire from construction. Slevin will do his job watching the alternative angle, and Neptunes will have to come to the rescue at some point. Gomfy is somewhere on the map, but for the time being, we don't really know where. He could be on a deep flank. He's playing underneath, it appears. Slevin finds his 3rd kill on the Crazy. All right, Slevin, but there's Dream and Creators for 2 of their own, doing some significant damage to Super. Creators so low on HP. Frag Grenade goes down, might collect both, but doesn't hit anybody at all. Super finds one, traded out. Can't do much as Dream is down, and Creators is on 1 HP! And a Dream, he'll get it. Tie us back up. These two teams cannot shake each other at all. Hell of a performance by Tempo Storm in the final moments of the round.
I mean, I like that they read into the fact that, you know they're going to be defending Garage. They're playing the Maestro with it, which means he can use his cams to see when Capitao is going to be going for his play to better anticipate and try and deal with it, maybe even peek with the ACOG onto the door and try and stop Capitao. So they just don't even bother. They have Capitao work, like you said, to use to open up the cache wall on CCTV. And then they start to pressure from the other side, take construction. But it was a great pinch towards the end. Finally taking out Slevin was obviously the key because he was definitely fighting back very strong. So once they took him out, that's when it started to collapse. I mean, it definitely came down to the wire there, though, towards the end. It really could have gone Super's way, but he was on very low health. Just wasn't able to fight it back adequately. But to be fair, that still puts them on pace with Tempo Storm, who was only really able to win, for the most part, their defenses on Church. So we'll see them try cache again, though. See if they can pull it off this time. And I wonder if we'll see, like on Border, where Tempo Storm switched back and forth between which attacks they were doing. You know, when they were switching between Archives Office and Armory Lockers on that attack. Will they switch over to the Garage side this time and go for the switch back and forth? Or will they just try and refine what they did last round? It's hard to say. I mean, it worked pretty well what they did last round, but I can see why it might not work a second time. So I would think they might go for a Garage push this time, but at least they left Neptunes with not much to do, as you said, for a while last round.
Well, Neptunes was totally ineffective that entire round.
Yeah.
Outside of his Maestro cams, Tempo Storm played that way perfectly. They just kept him inside, tucked away in Garage. He didn't really have much to do. He couldn't do much, and he couldn't get out safely because where the rotate usually is from Garage lines up perfectly with construction.
Yeah. And they had the wall open on CCTV, so it's a good setup. We'll see how they go this round, but they do look like they're setting up more to go for possibly a Garage push. They are definitely going to open up the wall. Do have Neptunes still setting up, actually. Looks like he's got his bailiff out doing some, I imagine, some holes as needed, maybe rotate holes.
There's a castle barricade from Butters, and that's onto the B wall, or the B window, rather, outside. So Slebin needs to be very wary of somebody playing over there. Looks like Crazy's going to establish a drone in that particular area while Butters is down below doing drone work on his own. Same setup from Tempo to open up that wall. Firebolt goes in, exothermic charge goes off, Slebin has to peel off, and there goes the wall quite successfully. Now, it's still quite a bit of utility that's used because there was an EMP, a Firebolt, as well as a Zofia explosive on that lifeline on the window earlier on the castle barricade. So quite a lot going in just to get that wall open. I think some could say maybe too much, but Tempo Storm made it work just purely on fragging in that previous round.
I mean, that wall is crucial to open, though. Let's be honest. Like all the utility in the world, as long as you don't die opening it, can still be worth it, as long as you can follow that up. And of course, you do require a lot of that utility to do that, especially if you want to take Garage. You may need quite a bit of that utility to do so. Grenade doesn't really work out super well for Dream there. Almost takes a fair amount of damage from it. Uses the second one as well.
Is it trying to get an Evil Eye, it appears. Goddess will spring forth, and this is what's often referred to as the caged animal strat. That's beautiful play from her onto the impact, and now you don't have to worry about construction at all. Construction was so pivotal for Tempo Storm in the previous round. Nothing is going to happen there at all. Slebin under fire inside of Cash. He knows that they're going to be coming in through construction, but it's a narrow doorway that they're going to have to fight through. Still might have one Firebolt left with 50 seconds left on the clock for them to work through. Goddess coming back, creates a rotate on red as Slebin will dance around the bomb chassis. Under fire for the time being, as there will be two members of Tempo Storm stacked up. Might also see some action inside of Garage as Neptunes has taken quite a bit of a beating as well. Just waiting for the time being. Slebin biding as much time as humanly possible. He'll pop up as a smoke will go off. Neptunes looks the wrong way, gets gunned down from the door. 3 for Tempo Storm, make that 4 as they're just right in. And now it's on Gumpy, but he can't do much, and Tempo Storm will take the lead here on Clubhouse. They just bulldoze into Cash CCTV over and over again, 2 rounds, and that's 5 rounds in total for Tempo Storm to 4 for the Soniqs.
What a collapse. Again, going for the same push. They actually denied it decently well from below with the impacts, but that didn't seem to matter. Just when Tempo gets set up for that collapse, there's not a lot of positions for Soniqs to play at that point. They really just have to fight back and hope the cornered animal strat works at that point. Absolutely did not work that round. And Tempo Storm actually taking the lead now. Just 2 rounds in a row. Looking really good those last 2 rounds. Cash just is no one's game. And I mean, it's surprising. Again, the Maverick ban should have affected Cash the most. That should be the most defendable site right now due to the operator bans, yet just because of the way it's being played, because of the cap tower, because of the way these attacks are going down, somehow just defense cannot seem to cope with it. I mean, we'll see how it goes this round here. They're going to go back to church, but it's looking decent for Tempo Storm to bring this back here. Maybe some of that technical break helped them as well, because they got to see Soniqs video and somehow that hyped them up to beat the Soniqs. I don't know. Either way, we'll see how Church goes this time. Cash is definitely not the play for either team. So far, no team has won a Cash defense, if I'm looking correctly here.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's
Church, Jim, Church.
So Jim is so far statistically this match been better than Cash.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
A Church with 3 of the 4 defensive victories in this particular matchup. That's what you want to see, I guess.
You definitely wish you could play it 2 times in a row.
Church is always a good place, especially if you're a praying man.
Absolutely. And at this point, Soniqs are praying for the comeback before they get to overtime, so they could just take the 2-map sweep and not have to play a 3rd map, of course.
We're just trying to build anticipation for the event today by going as long as humanly possible here between these 2 teams.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that you start off strong. Also give time for late viewers to join and still catch the first match.
Of course. It's good viewing hours.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it depends on what time zone you're in.
Well, that's...
I'm a West Coaster, so this is beautiful for me.
Does that say that you have a bias towards these teams? It's the Eastern Conference.
That's true. This is the Eastern Conference, so...
Just shed that bias. Shed that West Coast bias.
I'm cheering for whoever's the most West Coast of these 2 teams, right?
There you go. All right, well, 1 exothermic charge is going to be burned on the main hatch inside of the bar. And where's the other one going to go? Keep in mind, like we said time and time again, you only got 1.
Yeah.
So where's the other one going to go? Probably the church wall would be my
I would
guess.
think, depending on how they want to attack this. I mean, Butters is already pressuring towards the church wall, so it's entirely possible.
They could put it on kitchen hatch and then just barrel through Moto using the Capital as best as they can. And
Wow.
I mean, this is going to be really tough. Dream guns down Sleben. He's doing excellent work upstairs in kitchen. I doubt you're going to see an exothermic charge go onto that kitchen hatch now that it's been opened up as extensively as it has, because it's very ripe for an impact grenade to just simply blow the exothermic charge off of the hatch. So
They've already shown they're willing to impact to deny as well from last round.
yeah. Fire's gonna burn right next to Gomfi. He doesn't take any damage from it. Neptune's gun down from Dream. This Buck is just eating this round alive, at least for the time being. Super, knowing that there's somebody inside of Moto, he'll watch. Gomfi with one, pulls out the Deagle. Goodbye, good night. Crazy refrags, and an advantage once again for Tempo Storm. Another, and it will continue to grow. Tempo Storm's last 3 rounds can be characterized by killing everything within the span of 10 seconds, and they'll find themselves on match point.
Well, now they've broken the trend of winning church.
First they broke a monitor, now they break the trend.
So much left to break, though. So many things. So far, though, match point. This definitely could go to all 3 maps. I mean, I imagine Soniqs here really trying to rethink what they're doing. And Jim Bedroom, I don't know if that's the play. I think you were better off going church again. Yes, Jim has been won once, but
Right.
church has been, as you said, won a lot more times than Jim. I mean, I understand you want to change something up, but every time, you know what's been the pattern for Tempo Storm? Open up a little bit of window and just storm in every single time. Just collapse on the defense. And that's been working for them, despite the fact that you saw Gomfi, for example, get a 2K in blue. That could not slow them down once they collapsed. It seems like whoever's the IGL, whenever he makes the call for the push, he's doing it at just the right time, and everyone knows their job at that point. And it's working. Looks like we get another timeout. It's Soniqs. Appropriately timed. I think this is the right time for that timeout.
This is a proper timeout. This isn't a technical timeout. This is a tactical timeout.
Yeah.
Soniqs need to take it. They took it when they were on the ropes earlier in map number 1. It worked in their favor. They now take it here when they're once again on the ropes. There's still 2 more rounds left in regulation.
Yep. Could go either way. We certainly saw the overtime all the way down to the 15th round first map. Entirely plausible it goes that way. Again, the operator bans favor the defense, yet we're seeing many, many attack rounds. So it's been very, very backwards from what we're used to seeing in terms of the way this is being played out, especially with Thermite being in such a tough spot. Just, I don't know, they're managing to win. It's a lot of frags, really, winning out. It's a lot of trades. It's a lot of pushes being successful. And maybe some of that's just down to there's only so many defensive positions on this map, and they're very well known. You know the angles, you know how to make them play. It's just down to who wins that gunfight or who catches people off guard. A good example of that is Neptune's on that Maestro up at the catwalk, looks away at just the wrong time. It's moments like that that Tempo Storm are catching. Wow, 12 and 12 up there between Slebit and Crazy.
Sleben in particular has woken up the latter half of this matchup, the 4K, and then he got the 2-piece right after that. And, well, I mean, you're going to need him to continue to put those numbers up. But the rest of the team's going to have to come alive as well, because you're staring down match points. So
at least you have the buffer of knowing you won map 1. Right, so you obviously don't want to lose on your map, but hey, they beat Tempo Storm on their map, so it's back and forth. It's not a big deal. I think Coastline is a map that Soniqs can play well. I don't think they're in that tough of a spot. It's almost to the point sometimes where you could save energy, even if it's really looking like you can't win it. Somewhere you'd be like, let's just take it next map.
Yeah. The other thing that I was going to note on is that I think Neptune's has been very, very quiet. I didn't see every single statistic, but it certainly looked like Neptune's has not been the most, I guess you could say, pronounced member on this team.
It was very map 1, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I meant here on Clubhouse. And I mean, you need a team effort. Map 1 on Border, both teams had everybody banging on all cylinders.
Yeah. Now they're getting a little tired. That's what happens when first map goes all 15.
Yeah, I could imagine fatigue starting to set in, right?
That was a fast wall opening.
That was.
Of course, that's not the site. But
yeah, I was going to say, so it's Jim. You've also got garage control for Tempo Storm, so they've got most of the southeast side of the map. Butter's getting pushed on and swung on by what appeared to be Sleben at the top of red stairs. Out goes a frag grenade, but there's no intel from Tempo. They're all stacked up out on the balcony. That's a C4's, I guess you could say. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that phrase, but anyway. Wall gets opened up now inside of Cache 2, so that's all of your hard breach. All of it. You've used everything.
Time to
You're just
frag
going to
out.
have to go on in, and I think that's the play from Tempo here as Slevin takes out Creators. Butters is still very low on HP now as well. You're not going to be able to open up Jacuzzi. You can't really do much over on Logistics if it's reinforced. You're just going to have to go for broke. That's it.
Yeah, Butters at such low health here makes fragging out a lot harder to pull off. I mean, there's no way to heal him on attack. This is definitely a tough spot to be in. Everyone on Soniqs full health. And Slevin has already shown he's continuing to fire on all cylinders this round. So he really needs to be your first pick, and he's not in a spot where they're going to get him easily. They're also getting spotted on pretty much all their approaches here. It's really going to have to be someone catching someone off guard. Gomfi, though, catching Butters off guard, finishing off low player, and then just following it up onto Crazy. This is Tempo Storm losing all their momentum, but Dream trying to bring it back.
It's a suicide drop yet again, as we saw one earlier. Filthy's not going to be able to do too much. Misses most of his shots. You can see the look on his face. Obviously not very happy about it. Pistol's out, doing some damage, but not enough. He can get jumped out on through any of these windows, and that's exactly what's going to happen. The tactical timeout sure did seem to work for the Soniqs. They're one round away from sending us to overtime.
Well, definitely could happen. Soniqs timeout obviously worked in their favor. They managed to win gym. They can go back to church now and work out what they did wrong there, which I imagine they would do. Yep, they're going to go there. So we'll see if they can pull it off, but it's, I don't know, I mean, momentum's a thing for sure. It definitely is a case now where Soniqs have that momentum after that timeout. They really stalled out the momentum and tempo, and you saw them really kind of clustering and probably getting antsy for that win. And that could really work against them, especially as they lose some of that momentum now. Some compliments, though, coming out on the nice shot from Dream Shot. So, you know, the sportsmanship there at least, if nothing else. Church, though, gonna be tricky. As
I love they can't see the chat.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I don't think they can see the chat.
Oh, that's true. I was seeing it on a different.
All chat is disabled.
Yeah. Well, there was either way. There was a nice shot compliment coming out.
Yes.
Or to Dream, rather.
So downstairs to church for the final defense of the Soniqs, regardless of what happens. So far, they have. Well, the record is split 50-50. They won it in round number 7 on what was a decently impressive hold, and then they lost it the round that prompted them to take a tactical timeout. What are they going to do this time around?
5 seconds
And
remaining.
furthermore, is there going to be any hard breach denial? I think it was Dream who opened things up last time by moving into kitchen, opening up the kitchen floor, taking out Slevin, and then it snowballed from there.
It's because it was Slevin. He took Slevin out. Had an easy run from there.
You need that man to stay alive.
Yeah.
Desperately. This is a very similar setup that we've seen many, many times, with it being a bar/lounge, castle, defense. You can play very safely, and if they want to pressure you, they're going to have to expend utility to get to you. The problem is that if you don't waste enough time or enough utility, or even kill them in the process, then it's basically totally useless.
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to the way that you see this map set up, which is where the defense can sit 5 people in the basement without giving up any map control.
Well, we're seeing a fair bit of roam from the defenders this time, trying to deny some of that map control. It's a question of whether that's going to pay off or not. So far, it's paying off. That's 2 kills, 3 kills now.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Bomb located
Well, this is
by
not working.
attackers.
Where is everybody? Why? And now Dream is in sight, and does it feel like they just fast forwarded us a minute into the round?
Yeah, we just skipped a whole bunch of
Yeah, it's and then there you go. Soniqs will send us over. Okay, that one's over.
All right, well.
All right. That's
an oddity of a round.
very much so, I would say. Very, very bizarre.
I mean, it was as fast as Tempo's wins, but that was a loss for them that time. Just everyone all over the map dying in all kinds of different places.
It's just we're watching one person, and then everybody's dead.
Yeah. Just
Everyone's dead.
happens like that. Thanos snapped his fingers and,
Okay, well, first and foremost, Thanos did nothing wrong.
well, we're not going to defend that here.
Good. Very,
We'll go back to Jim here. Overtime sites reset, so they can go wherever they want. So interesting that they're going to choose Jim rather than Church, which is the more reliable site. So we'll see if they can succeed a second time on Jim. Last time they dismantled some of the attack pretty well. Some of that was due to Slevin's opening kill as usual. So we'll see if they can pull it off a second time. They're going to bring the mirror this time, something that we saw come out in the initial round from Tempo Storm, but we didn't see much after that.
A 6th pick on the Mira.
Yeah, it's just, we'll see what Super's going to do with that, but hey, it's additional C4. They obviously have additional, 2 other as well, with Neptune's on the mute and Gomphy on the Valkyrie. So plenty of C4 to work with. We did see some success in C4 in terms of throwing it out towards the hot tub once that gets opened. That is a good strategy because they're going to be sitting there for the most part if you hit it at the right spot. There's not much they can do about it. I mean, I suppose they could set a breach charge then climb onto the roof first. You just don't see that happen very often.
10 seconds left before insertion.
So, where will
5
Tempo
seconds
Storm
remaining.
attack from? Now, when they were attacking onto Gym Bedroom from Sonic side, we had Slebin creeping up the stairs twice. That worked fairly well, but we don't see anything similar from Tempo Storm, and maybe we should. I don't know that anyone's really doing anything that's going to defend against that any better.
Did Super have the pistol on Mira? Because it... Yep.
What?
Okay, well,
All right.
I guess he didn't have enough time. I guess that must have been like an audible call. Yeah, then that... You didn't really have enough opportunity, I guess, to...
You've still got 2 shotguns and the bailiff and the shotgun on mute.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. A little bit of droning to follow up that opening there. Good flank there from Dream as well, just to make sure his teammates don't get rushed out on. Mute Jammer not denying that droning as well, so they are starting to progress here towards the site, but they've got to find these kills. This is where they kind of got stalled out a bit last time, just losing a lot of these angles, not really being able to pressure this effectively. That's what they need to work on here. They're at least droning it to try and find out the angles, but crazy to start things off on Slebin. That is, exactly what they need to be able to win this round. So already a great start for Tempo Storm, and followed up by Butters.
Yeah, and Gomphy did not know that anybody was there. Super was ready to shotgun the wall, but you can't do that with the Mira pistol in your hand, buddy. Doesn't really quite work that way, so...
A+ for trying.
Hey, I mean, you try to make that call late, and you can't equip everything all at once.
No.
That's unfortunate timing for them. Anyway, firmly in the driver's seat is Tempo Storm. 5v3, half of the round to go.
Things have slowed down at least.
Yes, it's a much different tempo, to say the
Located by
least.
attackers.
On exothermic charge, instead of going onto Cash, is now going to go over here onto Jacuzzi Balcony. Now, because it was hard to shake the Soniqs off of that Cash hold last time, one of your hard breach pieces of utility had to be expended on that Cash wall. You've secured Cash this time. You've got what you need. You don't need to waste any more utility in doing so. This is when we refer to it sometimes like as a utility dump. You don't need to dump any utility into something you already have control of. So where do you go? Well, you head on over towards Jacuzzi. You've got one member of the Soniqs playing below, and you'll have your 2 anchors above, Goddess and Super. Neptunes will likely be playing, I'm guessing, in this sort of retake fashion. But these are excellent cameras. Super gets down from a grenade. That should have been a call by whoever was on the Valkyrie camera. Really challenging now to see what's going to come of this. Because you've got so many people upright, this might even be a flawless round, and that's exactly what it's going to be. Match point, Tempo Storm.
That looked really good from them. I mean, that was a site they struggled on quite a bit last time when we saw why, but again, the opening kill on Slebin. They are relying a lot on that man to win these rounds. Obviously, that's not a conscious decision. They're not like, well, Slebin's dead, let's give up this round. But it has definitely been the way things have been trending. And we see the same thing from Crazy, for example. Him doing quite well in all those rounds, but we also see a lot of other members of Tempo Storm really picking up. Dream has had some real key plays as well. Butters has had some great follow-ups. So everyone on Tempo Storm really trying to make sure they can close this map out, because of course, like I said earlier, with no losers bracket, they could go home right here if they can't close these rounds out to bring it to map 3. I mean, obviously they can still go home after that, but they want to ride this out as long as possible, if not all the way till tomorrow. So certainly going to give that a try here. I mean, they're used to this pressure from relegations and working their way into Pro League, because that was definitely a situation was very do or die to determine the next 6 months of their life. So that they can handle this pressure, but now they're in a LAN environment, so a little bit different.
I would even argue that the Soniqs crumbled under pressure.
Very true.
During relegations. So if they can have a kind of mental staying power, I think that's going to go an awful long way. If they can be able to bounce this one back, because keep in mind, they won map number 1, and now it's Tempo Storm looking to take the other map away. These have been going the full distance between these two teams, and I imagine that Coastline will probably be the same. Should we require it, there is still a chance that we won't. So
here's the important thing for Tempo Storm, though. They never lost Church, and that's why they get to play now for what could be the final round of this map.
It's very true.
So they are in a really, really good position to take this to Coastline. We'll see a Jackal, though, from Slebin, interestingly. We'll be trying to cut down any roamers, because we saw how much of a problem Butters was, for example, when he was able to be on that roam.
He's off of the Ash, which is now in the hands of Gomfi. So the two EU players, or the two
Former
EU players, I guess. Super referred to them as EU immigrants.
There you go.
I suppose that is technically true.
They're in the melting pot.
Yeah. They're going to be on your two very aggressive rolls, and they've both been hitting their shots so far today. They're going to need to hit them in this particular round because 2 minutes and 20 seconds could propel us to a third map between these teams in what has been a very, very close contest. And shows the staying power of a team like Soniqs and how Tempo Storm can go from playing underneath the top level of play to being in a position where, hey, they can compete with the big dogs. And that's exactly what we see right now.
Well, whether or not they actually win this out, we've definitely seen they can compete with the big dogs. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that now. It's just a question of how long they can compete with the big dogs this weekend. They are starting to open up. Interesting, they don't have a buck. They're just going to use 2 remote breach charges to open up the floor. That is a bit of a utility waste in some ways, but hey, they brought what they brought. I mean, you do have Jackal with the ITA, I imagine, as well, so that does seem like a little bit of a misplay in terms of utility. But, you know, if they win the round, then I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm seeing some very interesting things here. ADS was not burned at the bottom of blue. The Zophia's running a Claymore, not breaching. You don't really need a Claymore when you're playing on Church, outside of maybe one inside a garage, onto the ladder over Oil Pit. You could use a Sledge or a Buck here. Neither of them are banned. These are just small things that the Soniqs probably chose deliberately, but still could have improved their chances of taking the actual round. Last exothermic charge will go off on the Church wall, and back to Moto. Goddess is vulnerable for the time being. She sees one and will get the opening pick onto Crazy as he peeks a little bit too aggressively.
A lot of aggressive smoke coming out as well. That's at least 2 canisters burned already. We'll see if they can follow that up. But Gomfi getting a kill into Butters. This is actually turning very much against Tempo Storm already. But Plant still has to go down in the next 45 seconds, or all the kills need to.
Creators was inside of his own smoke, but he doesn't have any left, so not much utility. He's going to have Dream firing from so far back, and with that smoke shotgun, we've seen so many rounds won at that doorway. Is map 3 on the docket? No real utility for either teams, at least 4 now. We'll have to see who just simply wins in a slugfest that will ensue. 20 seconds left. Neptunes is in. He's got the safety, trying to snap onto the Maestro. He finds one. Craters gets him, though. Super's all in. He kicks out the smoke. It's Filthy taking out Gomfi in a 1v1, and Filthy versus Super. You couldn't ask for this any better, could you? Bad blood between the two of them. Super sees him, lines him up, goes around for the rotate, and the Soniqs are still alive, and you can see Seth Hoffman himself. He's very happy about that one. Once again, for the second map, we're going to go all 15 rounds.
I got to credit a lot of that loss to the early peek from Crazy out the wall. That really gave up a lot of their defensive advantage. They had the ability to kind of push things back, and then overusing their smoke to try to deny a push right then, when you know it wasn't going to come that early. Just a few little misplays there cost them quite a bit, but of course it still was winnable in that 1v1 at the end. Either way, though, he just didn't know whether or not the plant was going down. And again, that comes down to that lack of intel. Let's say they had a Maestro cam still up or something like that to be able to call, hey, he's planting. He could have made the right play at the right time, caught Super off. But the fact that he didn't know meant that he had to play completely blind, and Super took advantage of that and just won the fight. I mean, that L85, though, is quite a beast. So
it's a great gun.
Yeah.
It's a great gun. It's very steady. It putters along. It does good damage. It's comfortable.
It's all reliable.
It's all reliable. So, the Soniqs will end on defense, and usually on Clubhouse, that's pretty good. But we've been through regulation. It was 6 rounds on attack, 6 rounds on defense.
Well, we saw how this went last map.
Through overtime, though, we have 2 on attack. Both attacking victories.
Interesting. Certainly could go either way. Obviously, whoever wins this round gets to decide whether or not we see Coastline. Soniqs in a tough spot here, but you know, we talked about all the things they did wrong last round and still managed to win. So, you know, it's totally within possibility here. We'll see if Slebin lives. If he's the first pick again, then it's a Tempo Storm round.
Yeah.
Decider.
The opening picks have been nowhere near as decisive. They've obviously been a major influence. And over like the last 7 rounds, actually, the team that has gotten the opening pick has won the entire round, which goes in favor of that old Siege GG stat way back when. That was like 80% of the time you get an opening pick, you end up winning the rest of the round, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because then you just play like a 4v5 and you trade out. You just kill someone and they kill someone. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So
certainly happens. You know, it's not necessarily a deciding thing, but man advantage is a real thing in this game.
There goes one exothermic charge. Only one piece of the hard breach left. They've got the Legion under heavy watch, and Filthy could possibly jump in and deflate the hopes of the Soniqs, but for the time, no.
And he finally spots the drone, I think, as well. So now he knows he's been spotted out. They know where Goomine is, but we're seeing the very first dirt push.
Okay. I wouldn't even call this a dirt push. This is a dirt assault. They're all just running right in, but I think they flashed each other. That will give away a sound cue. They're all stacked up, all by the elbow, and now Soniqs have trained their sights onto the dirt tunnel, and it's called an escape hatch, and they're all just going to escape, and you can see they're laughing about it. They all went in, and then they all went out as well. So the Soniqs have been distracted, at least for the time being, and...
What a play.
I'm not sure what that was. I don't... Okay.
Mind games for sure. I mean, they've got to make it happen, though. They've got to open this hatch and just... They've got to go full blue. They're so low on time at this point. I mean, a minute 20 is still enough to work with, but that burned up a ton of time just making that play, and they don't have any picks to show for it.
It was about 50 seconds off of the clock from that one as well, so... What happens next? Well, Super's up top over Bomb B, and nobody really seems to know. It's a moto drop. Down goes the frag grenade. Super's still just waiting very patiently. This could be the biggest brain play of his entire career and could be the death sentence for Tempo Storm as the Soniqs sit 50 seconds away from being the very first team to make it to the conference finals tomorrow. Butters will find Gomfy, so Super will have to come back as the rest of his team is in somewhat of a pickle. Goddess playing the great spot, as often referred to as pull spot. Super gets one, that's Diffuser down as well, so Tempo will have to recover it, and now dedicate somebody to flank watch. This is a challenge, but out comes Sleben. He gets one, Super credited with the kill, a third for Super, and he knows that this is all but over, unless Filthy and Crazy can say something about it. I know that this has been a storyline and a narrative that's been pushed by the desk, but it's very true. Bad blood between these teams.
15 seconds remaining.
Filthy and Crazy, what can you accomplish? Sleben laying on top of the Diffuser, but Goddess gets two! The Soniqs will win. They'll take it 2-0 over Tempo Storm. That's it, that's all.
What a play by the Soniqs. That was... I mean, I love the idea of the dirt push and the push back, but so low on time, losing the Diffuser. It was a little bit of a misplay by the Buck there, just not having enough idea on how they were playing near Moto Drop, and just because of that, losing the Diffuser cost them the entire tournament right there.
How fitting is it that it's Super himself with 3 kills to seal the fate of Tempo Storm, and the only 2 people left alive are Filthy and Crazy. The 2 people that he wasn't able to kill.
We're never going to hear the end of it.
I mean, I'm sure we're not. Tempo Storm have a lot to be proud of. Their first major LAN experience as a team and some standout performances. You can applaud for both of them, crowd. You don't need to just applaud for the one. Soniqs a great bounce back. We'll see them tomorrow. They're going to wait for the winner of Dark Zero versus Space Station. That's going to be coming up next. But before we get there, at some point, we're going to have an interview, and then the analyst desk is going to break all that down. So there we have it. Thank you for tuning in for our very first match of the day. It was a long one. It required almost every single round, but we got Jackie down on the stage to talk to your winners.
Thanks, guys. Okay, 2 maps pushed into overtime. How does it feel to relegate Crazy once again? And was it easy?
Anytime I play Crazy, it's pretty easy. It's not very good. To be honest, on Border, I think we lost like 3 1v1s. On Clubhouse, we blew a couple rounds. I thought it was way closer than it needed to be, but they're not good enough to beat us, so it's not a surprise.
Ooh, wow, tough. Okay, obviously some tensions between these teams. So how does this win feel?
It doesn't really feel like anything. I mean, their team is in Pro League, but they're not a Pro League team. I think everybody knows that. So it's kind of like we're the favorite to win the match, so we won the match.
Okay, big talk. So I'm going to be real with y'all. You guys dropped a Challenger League. You guys did make some significant changes, though, changed up the strategy. Can you talk to me about what you guys changed and how you believed it benefited the team?
We just trained some operators around the way we play certain maps. I mean, both of those maps in particular. And it seems to be working for the better. Still, there's a lot to work on, but I think we're looking up right now.
The analyst desk was quite impressed with your play. They believe that you played quite strongly. You were adapting well. You really showed some leadership skills. Can you tell me what was your mindset and I guess what your approach was?
I mean, your mindset into any game is to try to win. I I just saw opportunities I thought would help us win. Some of it worked out, some of it didn't, but that's kind of the job of the IGL.
You did have a double hard breach ban on map 2. How did that affect your attacks?
I mean, we were up 3-1 on attack. We honestly could have been up 4-2, which obviously, given those bans, would have been basically sealed the deal. But, you know, for our approach, those hard breachers aren't necessarily important, so I thought it was worth a shot there.
Okay, final question. A lot of teams sleeping on Soniqs. What do you want to say to them?
Wake up.
All right, thank you so much. Great game. Gonna send it back to you guys.